Welcome to Covenant Calendar Club here, where we bring you the word of truth through the prophetic words of the prophets, the inspired holy scripture, uh, hosted by Brandon Muchmore, Conrad Paris, and myself, Jose Pasarel. We're stewards for the Torah to the tribes. If you want to catch more of these teachings or participate with us live, please connect with Torah to the tribes.com/connect. Sign up for Calendar Club alerts, and we'll be happy to send you one per week so you can join us live. Brandon today is going to go over something extremely important as we are approaching the end of this year, um, and of this Operation Warp Speed that the federal government is trying to push on us at this time. So Brandon's going to go ahead and touch up on that, and I hope you all are blessed and edified by it. Blessings. Go ahead, brother.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And guys, please pray for me right now, just as you're sitting there muted, because last night I tried to deliver this message and I was so tired, so worn out because I had woke up at 3:30 in the morning yesterday that, I just didn't deliver it with, as much excellence as I normally do. So just please pray for me, but I'm going to take a different route this morning, revamped a couple things. But see, the enemy doesn't want this information to get out. Okay. That's the biggest thing. All right. Because there's, like I've said so many times, there's two things that I love to do.
Brandon,
Yeah.
wanted to pray for you real quick before
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
started.
Sure.
All right.
Go ahead.
Heavenly Father, praise you, oh Abba Father, and bless this priesthood and bless the anointed that you have placed in our midst, and praise you for you are merciful and you're righteous and loving kind. Bless Brandon's mind and bless his spirit and bless his lips, and may the truth foretell these days that we are living in, the days that you have through revealed through your word. Um, Make sure that his anointed words will reach the nations and will, with gladness, reach the brokenhearted and reach those who are looking for salvation in your Son. You know who they are, and make sure that these words do land on good soil, Father. Whether this is preached, you know, through the mercy and the instillment of fear of your servants, or just your love and kindness that you have. So I pray that your words will reach the nations through our brother here today and through this message. And may you lift him up, give him comfort, give him grace, and give him strength to preach the word. In Yahushua's mighty name, our Kohen Hagadol. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So here's the situation. Because if I was gonna give us a like a warning status, like how they have, like DEFCON 1 through 5, and DEFCON 1 is like nuclear war imminent type thing. Well, in the spirit, in the prophetic, like we're probably in between DEFCON 2 and DEFCON 1. That's how close we are to this. That's how close we are to this rolling out. And that's the importance of this hour, because, I was going to continue, um, 2 weeks ago with, continue to talk about, the serpent and how to think like a serpent and all that kind of stuff. And this kind of goes along with that in a way. But, then the election happened. So last week we talked about the house divided can't stand, and some people were pleased with that message. Some people not so much. I would ask you to test what the Spirit says. Don't go after or follow a man, because a man will mislead you. And there's one man, the man of sin, the man of lawlessness, who will lead you right to the pit of hell. So be careful following a man. But, so I was going to continue that. I was going to continue to build, my list of bullet points of evidence for why I felt that, potentially Donald Trump might indeed be, the end of Messiah. based on, we talked about the wound that had been healed, or the seemingly deadly wound that had been healed, or as it says, as it were, the beast as it were wounded and was healed. And we talked about the wound being the plague A, which is Strong's G 4127. And then we talked about the healed being therapeo, which is Strong's G 2323, right? We talked about that. And I was going to continue to build on that. But then out of nowhere, the 60 Minutes episode of Operation Warp Speed happened. And we just hit the afterburners. We're going warp speed ahead, if you will. And so now the mind has to shift. The focus has to shift on what is at hand. Okay? What is at hand? So what I want you to introduce you to is a couple of ideas. All right? We're in the midst of a seed line battle, a battle of seed lines. Okay? We know that Yahuah has declared the end from the beginning, just like Isaiah 46:10 tells us. And we know that there's nothing new under the sun. That which has been is also shall be, right? So this goes all the way back to the garden. All right? Goes all the way back to the garden. Genesis 3:15. And I will put enmity between you and the woman. This is Yahuah speaking to the serpent, speaking to Satan. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. So there's a seed line battle. We got to understand that. They're going after the seed of Abraham. Could it be that when the Apostle Paul told us to stay away from foolish genealogies and chase after foolish genealogies, that by the spirit of prophecy in the prophetic, that he actually knew that that's how they would try to identify the seed of Abraham, who has the VMAT2 gene, aka the God gene in them, who's been reborn, who's been grafted into the olive tree that Romans 11 talks about. Could it be that Paul knew that? I don't know. It could be. All I know is I've talked to people who have done these 23andMe, these ancestry DNA. I can't think of the other one right now, but all these databases, all of a sudden, they're changing more and more over the past 6 to 12 months, and they're getting more and more accurate as far as like the information, because it like continuously updates. All right. So let's go real quick. And I'm going to show you what this is about. Because Genesis 3 is tied to Revelation 12. All right. Because once the dragon's cast down to the earth, he persecutes the woman who gave birth to the male child in verse 13. But the woman is given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she may fly off into the wilderness to her place where she's nourished for 1,260 days, or times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. And the serpent spewed out water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth opened up and helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the flood which the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. Which, verse 17, and the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua. Okay? This is about identifying the seed of Abraham. And I'm going to explain to you why here in just a second. All right? So this, of course, is Operation Warp Speed. Right? Eradicating the line of Abraham. The depopulation agenda, the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones say that they want a population of the world of 500 million or less. There's roughly 7.8 billion people on the earth right now. Okay? This is Agenda 21. This is Agenda 2030. This is Agenda 2050. They call it sustainable development. I'm going to show you why. What is their goal? What's their game plan? Like I said, we're in the middle of a seed line battle from Genesis 3:15. Okay? The battle of the seed line. All right? Psalm 2. Let's go there for a second. Because this is important. Psalm 2. Why did the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuah and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens shall laugh. Yahuah shall hold them in derision, and he shall speak to them in his wrath and distress them in his deep displeasure. So as he starts pouring out his wrath, as he starts pouring out his righteous judgments upon the earth, he's going to speak to them through those judgments. That's what he's saying. Just like he spoke to Pharaoh and said, let my people go, through Moshe, right? Sent Moshe in there how many times to tell Pharaoh, let my people go, let my people go. That's what it's all about. It's the rage of Satan coming to its fruition. It's the level of sin coming to its fullness. While free will comes to its fullness, lawlessness comes to its fullness, and then the cleansing of the judgment happens. The earth is cleansed by fire. Verse 6, yet I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion, and I will declare the decree. Yahuah has said to me, you are my son. Today I've begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance. So the nations of the earth are the inheritance to the son. They're Yahusha's inheritance. Okay? That's a key thing you got to understand. And the ends of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. Now, therefore, that's what Isaiah 63, verse 1 through 3 is about, and that's what Revelation 19 is about at his triumphal return. Now, therefore, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahuah with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are those who put their trust in him. That's what Psalm 2 is about. So, Psalm 2, the 10 kings of the earth have plotted a vain thing. What is the vain thing that they plotted? Agenda 21, 2030, 2050, sustainable development. The NWO, the New World Order, the elites, whatever you want to call them, that's what they're about. It's a Luciferic utopian society where they can recreate the moment of Genesis 11, where they can get everyone on the same religion, under coexist or under Chrislam. There's no borders, a world without borders, a world of peace, a false sense of peace. There's nothing that keeps anyone from anything, right? And they're all in one mind and one accord, just like they were in Genesis 11. And go there, on your own time and check it out, okay? But Agenda 21, quite frankly, you guys, it's for the 21st century, but it's about to start in 2021. All signs are leading to it, okay? Go and please look up for yourself a man by the name of Klaus Schwab, okay? Klaus, and then Schwab, like Charles Schwab, I believe it's SCHWAB, all right? Because he's talking about now is the perfect time for a global macroeconomic reset. in the midst of this pandemic. In the midst of this pandemic, Time Magazine has it on their website. The World Economic Forum has it on their website. All these signs are happening all around us, but do we see them? Do we have eyes to see, ears to hear, or are we caught up in the cares of this life? And that day is going to come upon us like a thief in the night, and we're going to be caught unaware. We need to watch. That's why this group has kind of made a shift, where calendar is absolutely 100% important. Don't get me wrong. It is important to be on the right calendar, to be in covenant through the calendar and everything like that, and understand, how to count your days. One of the things that the three of us has talked about is, hey, we need to start teaching and empowering people on how to measure the equinox, how to measure the Tekufa. So that way, if the grid does go down and we can't even do these teachings anymore, or the internet does go down, we've empowered you to where all you have to do is watch for that Tekufa and then count, just like Psalm 90 verse 12 talks about. So that way you can gain wisdom, counting your days that you may gain wisdom, right? So these things are important, but there's been a shift ever since this COVID-19 came about to where we've added this element of prophecy tied to the calendar, because it coexists together. It absolutely coexists. We found, I think it was over 17 different references that are tied to 30-day months that link back to the 42 months or 1,260 days or 3.5 years, however you want to slice it. The times, and half a time that I believe that we're very shortly coming up on. All right. Sustainable development, carbon elimination. Who's made of carbon? We are, right? The molecule of carbon is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. That's carbon. We are carbon. The elimination of carbon. We're ruining the atmosphere. We have to save the earth by killing the people. Completely backwards, right? But I've got good news, because this is the vain thing that they've plotted. But he who sits in heaven laughs at them, because he holds them in derision. He's not going to allow them to do what they want to do. Okay? Because once the beast fully reveals himself, he only gets to continue for 40 and 2 months, 1,260 days, 3.5 years. Just like the prophecies say in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, Revelation 12, Revelation 13, Revelation 11, all these different places that we've looked at and are continuing to look at. So the nations are Yahushua's inheritance, because Yasharel, the 12 tribes scattered abroad, are buried in the nations, scattered amongst in the nations. All right? So their thought is this: if we eliminate his people, if we eliminate the seed line of Abraham, his inheritance, he won't have anything left to come back for. And we can keep our kingdom to ourselves. We can have this utopian Luciferic society where we're of all mind, one accord, like a hive mind, if you will, connected to the singularity, right? This is why Matthew 24 verse 22 says, unless those days, speaking of the great tribulation, were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, or will be shortened. Why? Because even those who end up taking the mark, okay? Those who end up taking the mark, they're going to end up dying. As soon as that moment happens, when it begins, and I'm not even saying it begins right when they take the mark. I'm not saying that. It could be, but I don't know. Knowledge is continuing to be revealed. Wisdom is continuing to be poured out, right? But there will be a time frame where it starts, where those who take the mark are tortured for 5 months, and they will seek death and they will not find it. right? So, but those will be destroyed, okay? So he's going to take his bride off into the wilderness. Now, what I want you to do, I'm not going to go there too much, because last night I went there and I literally like read the whole book and it just was terrible. But I want you to go and I want you to read the book of Esther, because the book of Esther, now I want to give credit where credit is due, okay? There's a gentleman by the name of Leland Jones. Now, he's on a different calendar. That's okay. I don't have a stumbling block with him or a beef with him over that. That's fine. Whatever. It's fine. No big deal. Calendar won't help you in a in the FEMA camp, and it won't prevent you from getting into the New Jerusalem and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so don't but chew the meat, spit out the bones is what I'm saying, right? But he has a great teaching on the book of Esther, because a lot of people think the book of Esther doesn't belong in the canon because Yahuah's name's not mentioned. It's just a story of an unfaithful queen, who's cast out of the kingdom. There's virgins that are brought forth before the king. One is selected. She becomes Queen Esther. Yada yada yada. She has her uncle. I think it's her uncle is Mordecai. You have Haman. Haman's 10 sons. The whole story, right? But what if I told you that the book of Esther is actually prophetic? Would you believe me? I hope you wouldn't, because I hope you would do the right thing, which is to go be a good Berean and go test it for yourself. That's what I did when I was first introduced to it. And now I see it. Let me give you the characters real quick, and then we'll get to Operation Warp Speed. So you have King Artaxerxes, the king of Persia. He's represented by, he represents Yahusha, okay? You have Vashti. Vashti is the great harlot, the one who should be his queen, should be partnering with him, but instead she's committing adultery. She's fornicating with the nations, right? The great harlot of Babylon, right? That's Vashti. So she's banished from the kingdom. Then you have Haman. Haman represents the Anti-Messiah when you really look at him. Okay? You have Esther, of course, the bride of Yahusha, right? Then you have Mordecai, who represents the remnant. And then you have Haman's 10 sons, who represent the 10 kings of the earth, or the 10 toes of Daniel's statue, or the 10 horns of the beast as well. The horns of the beast, the 10 kings who rule for an hour with the beast, who give their power over to the beast. Revelation 17 and 18 talk about. All right. So I want you to go and I want you to read it because it's important. But now let's talk about Operation Warp Speed. What a name. What a name for Operation Warp Speed. Now, what's really interesting, I'm going to give you some facts about the book of Esther real quick, okay? And this is something I'm trying to pin down when these days were back then and when these days would be now. Because if you go and read, especially starting in Esther chapter 3, see, Haman was an Amalekite. The Jews had actually come against the Amalekites and decimated their people. So he wanted to not just get back at Mordecai, but he wanted to get back at all of the Yahudim. And also, Haman was raised up into a position of authority. And what we have to understand is that Yahusha is holding the scroll, and he's the one that's breaking the seals. Okay? He's the one that's breaking the seals. He's the one that gives power unto the beast. See, Satan thinks that he's in control of everything. He thinks that, oh, this is my turn to rule. But no, Yahusha is the one who is breaking those seals. Look at Revelation 4 and 5, especially Revelation 5. Who is worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals? And I wept much because there was no one in heaven or on the earth or under the earth who was found worthy. And then it cuts and it says, but behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, He is worthy to take the scroll and to loose its 7 seals. For he was slain, the lamb slain from the foundation of the world. He's the one holding the scroll and breaking the seals, right? And it, we could have debates over what the first seal is or if the first seal's happened and all that kind of stuff. I'm under the belief that it has. Frankly, it doesn't matter what the first seal was, whether it's what, Matthew Nolan has talked about that it's Yahushua by the Spirit, by the Ruach. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. That Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7, chapter 3, verse 14, and chapter 4, verse 7 talk about. I'm more in agreement with that. But then there's people who say, like, no, it's more of like the medical industry, because they're all in white lab coats and stuff like that, or whatever. But regardless of what it is, it doesn't matter. We're in the beginning stages, and we're about to see the rest of the 4 horsemen come about. The war horse, the great sword given to it, famine coming, pestilence, real pestilence, not stuff that needs insurance fraud, death certificates changed, sorcery involved as far as like spells cast from broadcasting, from television networks and everything like that. But we're really going to see, I think it's a quarter of the earth die during the pale horse. Okay. So, but the point is that, see, when Haman was raised to power, when he was given authority, just like Satan is, see, Satan's been raised up. He's been given authority because Yahushua uses Satan to test the people, right? He gets rid of the lukewarm that way. Because he said, I would rather that you were hot or cold, but because you were lukewarm, I spew you out of my mouth. Okay? Because this is what is coming down to. Choose this day who you're going to serve. Choose this day, like Joshua 24 talks about, like Elijah talks about, right? It's all about that. It's about getting rid of that so-called middle ground that doesn't exist. And he's doing it. Because there are a lot of people who are claiming to be believers right now, both Christian and Torah observant alike, and they didn't count the cost of what it takes to follow him. They're so caught up in their religion, they're so caught up in their traditions, they're so caught up in their own knowledge that they're claiming to be wise that they became fools, right? And he's sending them a strong delusion. And I pray that they wake up. I really do. But it's not looking good for a lot of people. But if you go and you look at the timeline, it's interesting that, see, we're about to see 2 time periods play out. We're about to see a repeat of the book of Esther, where Haman, represented as the Antichrist, is going to try and take out all of not just the Yahudim, but all of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, right? And on top of that, we're about to see, I believe, a repeat of the Maccabean Wars. Now, isn't it really interesting? Now I'm still researching this, so please don't, hold this against me if I'm speaking wrongly. But it's shown that around the time of December the 25th is supposedly when Antiochus Epiphanes set up the abomination of desolation in the temple, in the second temple. Before that was about, like, I think it's like 168 roughly before the Common Era. So kind of interesting, the timing of these vaccines coming out, wouldn't you think? Because history's repeating itself. It's Ezekiel's wheel within a wheel within a wheel, and it continues to roll forward until we get to the end of the age. But it was in the first month of Nisan, Abib, when Haman had his stewards begin to cast lots before him. And month after month, they cast lots to determine the day and month that all the Jews would be killed. And the lot fell on the 12th month of Adar, which is roughly in late February to early March. It's near when the Jews celebrate the feast, the Feast of Purim, right? Which Matthew had brought up, that he felt like it's a possibility that this could really escalate, and that the time of Jacob's trouble could start in the month of in that area of Purim. And I'm starting to see the correlation here. So, and then also it talks about how they wouldn't just, capture them and slaughter them and everything like that, but they would also plunder their possessions. Now, what's really interesting is you have something called Nasara Gesara. It's part of the global reset that they want to do. They want to offer people debt free. Like, hey, we'll wipe out your mortgage debt. We'll wipe out your car debt. We'll wipe out your credit card debt. We'll wipe out all this other debt for you. All you got to do is participate in our vaccine schedules. That's all you got to do. All you got to do. And I personally have the thought that, because famine will obviously have already set in before that takes place. And I think that, Esau has a lot to do with this. The fact that, if you actually look at our Torah portion from this week, Genesis 26, I had made a couple posts about this, but verse 1 and 2, it talks about there was a famine in the land, and that Abraham was warned not to go down to or maybe it was Jacob, I'm sorry. No, I think it was Abraham, but he was warned not to go down to the land of Mitzrayim. So don't turn to Egypt in the midst of the famine, but dwell in the land which Yahuah tells you to dwell. That's the first warning. The second warning is Esau. Esau had just come from, a great hunt and everything like that, facing enemies and a battle and all that kind of stuff. And he was weary, he was tired. And he asked, he's presented with a bowl of soup, and he ended up selling or pottage, however you want to say it. And he sold his birthright for that bowl of pottage to Jacob. Jacob said, sell me your birthright. And he said, what use is it to me a birthright? I'm about to die. I'm so weary. I'm so worn out. I have nothing left. I can't buy or sell. I'm in the midst of this famine. I can't eat anything. But be wary of getting offered something in exchange for your birthright. Because if your birthright goes, then later on, your inheritance to the kingdom goes. Because if you look in the next chapter, it shows clearly what happened. What happened? Isaac ended up blessing Jacob, who he thought was Esau. Wouldn't it be a scary thought if it didn't happen immediately? If these people who take this vaccine, who don't heed the warning of watchmen like myself or others, who think that we're crazy, who think that they don't have the technology to change our DNA and rewrite and blot our name out of the Lamb's Book of Life, what if it doesn't even happen right away? What if there's no change? What if they don't feel anything? What if they just feel normal? What if there's no side effects immediately? But then once the judgment starts being poured out, they're going to start having boils, just like in the land of Mitzrayim in Egypt. Look at the plagues. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. So don't sell your birthright into the kingdom for the sake of feasting in this one. If you're going to experience a little bit of famine in this one, in order to feast with the king, so be it. So be it. But there's going to be a time where we get to where, like it talks about in Matthew 4 and Luke 4, where it says, men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuah. Yeah, this is going to be the time of great testing. This is going to be the time of great trial. This is going to be the wearing out of the saints. But hallelujah, he's going to empower us to endure to the end. That's what it's about, enduring to the end. And if we don't endure to the end, then it's about being faithful even unto death. Don't fear those who have power over both or over just your body, but not your soul. But fear the one who has power over your body and your soul. That was also in our Torah portion this week as well, from Matthew chapter 10. It's in there. So if they come and they offer you a hey, we'll go ahead and wipe out all your debt, Brandon. We'll erase all your debt. We'll give you an 800 beacon. Matter of fact, what if they came in and said, you know what? I know you had $5,000 in your bank account when that global reset happened, but how about we give you $500,000? How about we give you $1 million? See, the question is, do you and I, do we have a price in which we can be hoard for? Is there a price in which we would choose the cares and worries of this life over his kingdom? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. It's the question we got to ask ourselves today. Am I for sale, or do I know that I am part of his bride and that I have been bought with the precious blood of Mashiach, and that there is nothing that can take that away? Am I for sale? Because see, the whore Vashti, she was for sale. She wouldn't come. When the king called her to the feast, she wouldn't come. So she was banished from the kingdom. Just like the wedding supper. Your body is not your own, Paul tells us. For we are the temple of the Most High. We've been bought with the precious blood of Mashiach. Now, what's interesting is, as Haman is raised up, though, you know, he's trotting around, you know, on his horse and everything, and everyone's bowing down to him, right? Just like everybody's bowing down to the beast right now. They're putting on their mask. They're practicing social distancing. They're walking up and mindlessly doing their temperature checks on their right hand or on their forehead as precondition for the mark. But see, Mordecai, he wouldn't bow down. That's why Haman hated Mordecai. And at first he thought of killing just Mordecai, so he hung up, you know, he put up the gallows for him. But then he found out that Mordecai was actually of the Jews. So he's like, you know what? Even better, because I'm an Amalekite, I hate the Jews, so I'm not going to just kill one Jew. I'm going to kill all the Jews. Do you see it? Do you see the correlation here? Haman is the anti-Messiah. The beast hates when we stand up to him. That's why he's got all the facial recognition, so he can see everything. That's why he's got all the temperature scanners. Hey, are you bowing down to me? If they're not, I'm going to put you on a list of non-compliant. Non-compliant. Matter of fact, I want to be in the top 10 of his list. I want to be on the beast's most wanted, fugitive, wanted, dead or alive, high reward, paid. Take this man out because he keeps revealing my secrets. So don't sell your birthright, beloved. And then Esther, being the bride, she pleads to the king, Yahushua, on behalf of the remnant. Because see, as we're raised up, as the priesthood is raised up, the two witnesses, the two houses are raised up, we're going to wreak havoc, beloved, on the beast and the beast system, the same way that Moshe and the same way that Aharon did with Egypt. We're going to be calling down those plagues whenever we choose. We're going to be saying, no, you can't have any rain, etc. Just like Revelation 11 talks about. And I have to wonder, is this timing tied to when March 13th happened this year? When Donald Trump signed over the power to the country over to FEMA and empowered them to do what they do? Is that when the decree went out to the land to, hey, we're go time. It's go time. All right, let me hurry up. Probably gonna have to break this up into multiple things. But I want you, first of all, let me back up for a second. Hang on. Sorry, I lost my chat box. Because I don't want you to perish for a lack of knowledge. And I would love to show you these videos, but I've tried to do this 2 different times on YouTube, and they shut my stream down because, see, the beast is AI. What do you think artificial intelligence is if Yahuah is intelligence? Yahuah is the all-intelligent one. Artificial intelligence, fake, false, appearing as real. It's the beast system. But you need to go to YouTube. You need to type in 60 minutes Operation Warp Speed. And you need to go watch these videos. There's one that's 13 minutes long. That's the one they showed on Sunday night. There's one that's 5 minutes, 48 seconds long. There's one that's 3 minutes and 27 seconds long. And then there's one that's a minute, 33 seconds long. There's lots of different ones. There's another one. Oh, okay, those are the same one. But there's a lot of information out there, you guys. This guy's involved. He's one of the chief advisors, Mansaf Salawi. I never heard of him until yesterday when he started speaking. But the enemy is telegraphing because Yahuah makes him telegraph. The question is, do we have eyes to see and ears to hear? Or are we convinced that, no, we know better than that? We know better than that. No, it can't be the Mark Brandon because, that there's not a third temple yet, or I haven't seen the thing that I thought would pan out the way that I thought it would, or it doesn't match the timeline that I had. Does it matter what your timeline is or my timeline, or does it matter what Yahuah's timeline is? Because to me, it matters what his timeline is, not what mine is. Now, here's something really interesting. This is an article from statnews.com. Now, I'm going to post some of these articles in the chat. Also, you can email me as well, and I can send them to you also, so you can go and read them. But if you know anything about Freemasonry, they're all about the 2 pillars, the pillars of Joachim and Boaz in Solomon's temple. And it says that under Salawi, that guy I just showed you, there are 2 major pillars: vaccine and therapeutics. What are the 2 things that Trump has been talking about all year long and his advisors? The vaccine and therapeutics. I've already proven to you, not what I have proven to you, but what the word says in the Greek. Therapeo is cure. It's cure. It's healed. It's therapeutic. Trump's already said, he's already declared that he's got the cure. He just offered yesterday. You know what he said? He said, I won't lock down the country. This administration won't lock down the country again because we have the cure. But we got to understand where we're at right now. Because could it be that we're about to see the beast become enraged because he knows his time is short? Could it be that the country was in the process of voting out the beast, but now he's getting mad? And that's why, literally, like, what was it? Last Shabbat, Biden is announced as elected by the media, right? And immediately, as soon as he was elected, I thought, is the beast about to become enraged because he knows his time is short? Did you know that the 2 I don't want to call them planets because they're not planets, but the two celestial bodies of what we call Jupiter and Saturn, which represent, Jupiter is the king planet. It represents Yahuah. And Saturn is Satan. It's what all the Saturn worship is about, the cube on the so-called Jew's head, the Mecca cube, the D-Wave quantum computer, all that represents Saturn. Did you know that they're about to converge on 12/21? Could that be the day when Satan gets cast down to the earth, like Revelation 12:12 talks about? It says, therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Why does he have a short time? Because he's about to get kicked out of the White House. So now he's got to start chaos. Could it be? I don't know. I'm just telling you what's in the headlines and what's in the scripture. And I'm trying to stay as unbiased as possible and use the best exegesis theology as possible and not have my own preconceived notions about it. I'm not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole is my point here. But the two things that they've been talking about all year long have been this vaccine and these therapeutics. And it's an illusion of choice, just like the left and the right. It's the same illusion of choice. It's Lucifer, it's Satan. It's the dark cabal versus the golden dawn. It's what appears as light, as an angel of light, the way that Lucifer appears, the way that Satan appears, or it's the overt darkness of the cabal, of the devil. Because don't be surprised if they say, oh, you don't have to worry about that vaccine. Actually, you can go ahead and take this therapeutic instead. But don't be so distracted. Don't be distracted by HB's laptop, if you know what I mean. Don't be distracted by what's going on with this election, if you know what I mean. Because if you look at Daniel chapter 11, if he really is the beast, if he really is, then he's going to overcome through flattery, deception, and there's something else. I'm sorry, I can't think of it right now. But he's going to overcome using his wits, using his knowledge. What's he using right now? Because I just saw a tweet, I think it was last night or this morning, that said that he just won Pennsylvania because the Constitution said so. Because some 600,000, 700,000 votes weren't ever looked at or something like that. So by definition, he won. Do not be surprised if he doesn't leave the White House, beloved. Because no matter what, we are going into the war horse. We are going to see civil war in our land. Okay? We're going to see it. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That means ethnos against ethnos, kingdom against kingdom. Just like Matthew 24 speaks of. America is about to fall because she is a great whore. She's a great harlot. Her sins have risen up to the Most High, and he can't stand the stank of her any longer. And judgment is in the land. And I've been seeing it coming for the last 8 to 10 years because the blood of those innocent babies, just like Abel's blood, still cries out. How long, O Yahuah, faithful and true, until you avenge our blood on those who are on the earth? It's coming. It's coming, beloved. I'm not here to make predictions. I'm here to sound the alarm. Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sound the alarm. Consecrate a fast, for the great and terrible day of Yahuah is at hand. And who can endure it, Joel says. Who can endure? I have so much to go over. I just can't cover it all. There's so much. It's so meaty. There's so much information. But I'm going to give you the timeline that they've exposed. A potential timeline, okay? Potential timeline that they've exposed. Because they talked about D-Day. Wow, General Perna, why would you use the phrase D-Day? Isn't D-Day when we invaded Normandy with the Allied forces? We stormed the beaches of Normandy, Omaha Beach, and Utah Beach, and these other beaches? And we pushed back, we built a beachhead and pushed back the German army? Because their goal that they've announced, go and watch these videos, okay? Go and watch these videos because they've announced their plan. They want to vaccinate 300 million people by next spring. By next spring. D-Day. Now, you can't see it. It's off camera. It's like over to the bottom left of where this D-Day is. But it says there's an arrow right here that his arm's covering up that's pointing to 20 to 40 million vaccinations. 20 to 40 million. So 20 to 40 million doses of Pfizer is round one. That's D-Day. That's what's circled right here. Round one, D-Day. Now, could D-Day be December 20 or December 1st? Oh, man. If it was December 1st, wow, that would mean we have like 2 weeks away. Or could it be January 1st? Well, based upon their timeline, see, Lucifer is telegraphing. He's telling us we don't have much time left, beloved. The global reset is coming. Your money will be worthless. Your debit cards will be worthless. And all that you will have to buy and sell is the mark of the beast. And it's not a day of the week. And it's not only spiritual. And it's not this. It's not that. It's his branding. He is going to brand his people like cattle. You either will have the seal of Yahuah on your forehead, or you will have the mark on your forehead or on your right hand. It's up to you. If I could drag you out of the fire myself, I would. I would, but I can't. It's up to you. Do you have eyes to see? Do you have ears to hear? Do you know that the American dream that we've lived, so-called, is about to become the greatest nightmare that you've ever experienced? Because the book of Daniel says that it will be a time of trouble, such as has never been, never shall be again. And beloved, as soon as these contractions start happening, beloved, it's not going to stop until the baby is born and a new age is born and our King returns. But are you willing to die for the man, not the man, more than a man, the one who died for you? Are you willing to die for him if it comes to that? Or are you going to be faithful even unto death? Because, beloved, that is how we overcome. They can only kill us once, beloved. I'm here to tell you today that that is how we overcome. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of our testimony, and by not loving our lives even unto death. I'm going to give you the timeline. Give you the timeline. Can y'all see this? Put a 1 in the chat if you can see this. Good, good, perfect. So let's talk about 2 different scenarios. If D-Day is December 1st, that means that Pfizer's first round of vaccines would go out December 1st, and the second shot, because each one, 5 out of 6 of these take 2 shots 21 days apart. So round 1, December 1st. He's already said that Trump said it, and the generals said it, that within 24 hours from the word execute, That's all he has to say. Execute. As soon as they get the FDA's approval, which they said, Trump said yesterday that they're going to have it by the end of the month. Beloved, are you ready? Are you ready? Am I ready? I don't. Can we even be ready? Yahuah, give us the grace. Give us the grace to be ready, because it's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by my spirit, says Yahuah Savot. There's no way we're going to survive this, enduring to the end on our own strength, our own power. None. Tap in to that intimacy right now. So if round one, Pfizer goes out December the 1st, the second shot will be 21 days later on December 22nd, which will be right after the day of the winter solstice, which will be right after the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Moderna will potentially go out on December the 7th, based on this chart behind us. Behind this. Second shot for Moderna would be December the 28th. The round three, unknown, I think it would be AstraZeneca, I believe, would be approximately December 14th. Second shot will be January 5th, 2021. Round four, or a different vaccine here, different manufacturer. January 12th, second shot, February 21st, or February 2nd, 2021. You see what I'm talking about here, right? Or if it started on January 1st, because there's a lot of talk that the global reset might take place on January 1st. Okay? 21 days later would be January 22nd. Moderna would be January 7th, second shot, January 28th. January 14th for the third shot, third round. Second shot would be February 4th. Fourth round, February 12th. Second shot, March 5th. Fifth round, February 19th. Second shot, March 12th. Sixth round, February 26th. Second shot, March 19th. Rounds are separate drug manufacturers. I don't have them all memorized, but I know there's at least Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Gilead. I can't think of some others right now. I know Eli Lilly has been mentioned. But the general said himself, our goal is to have 300 million people vaccinated by spring. By the springtime, 300 million. Could this Passover be the exit of the bride into the wilderness? It very well could be, beloved. Very well could be. Also, it's been roughly 3.5 years since we've seen the Revelation 12 sign that happened on 9/23/2017. But you can see where I'm getting this from. Well, actually, you really can't. But if you go and watch the video, okay, so you see the pattern here. D-Day is the first day that Pfizer's delivered the first round of vaccine. The next vaccine for them is 21 days later, right here, the second round, the second shot. Then this is Moderna, represented by Moderna potentially, 7 days after this one. Then this is represented right here of AstraZeneca, 7 days after this one, 14 days after this one. And it's overlapping all the way up until this is the sixth one, 56 days after D-Day. And this is the fourth one, round two of the fourth one, 63 days after. So round one of the fourth one's right here, and then 21 days later, it's right here. But all he's got to say is execute. Let's keep going. Because, oh yeah, they did this too. You've heard of that, conspiracy theory about FEMA regions, and Chris FEMA region, 4, he jokes about it in his name itself, right? And the Southeast is represented by FEMA region 4 right here. But yeah, they had this computer system called Tiberius. Okay? Now, Tiberius, we're gonna get into that in a second, but part of it has this map on it. And I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta look this up. I heard some people talking about it. Because see, I broadcasted this on Sunday night live when this video took place. I broadcasted it live, and hallelujah, 1,800 plus people saw that video on Facebook. Hallelujah. I pray that seed that was sown and the preaching that I did afterward, that the seed would go and bear a fruitful harvest, 30, 60, 100 fold. And that people would have ears to hear and eyes to see, and it wouldn't fall on the among thorns and the dry ground, and that they wouldn't let the thief come in and steal and take it away from them. But beloved, ever since March 13th, FEMA has been activated. FEMA's been activated, beloved. They've been given power. Tiberius Caesar Augustus. He actually served as the Roman emperor. He was reigning during the time of Yahuah from approximately 14 AD or CE to 37 CE. He oversaw Pontius Pilate. He oversaw Pontius Pilate, who oversaw the impalement of Yahuah that Brother Jose just got done talking to us about. The two pillars, the vaccine and therapeutics, the illusion of choice, the left and the right. Oh, that, yeah. See, this is what I think they're going to do. Because, right, it says to deceive, if possible, even the elect. But see, beloved, the elect, they study to show themselves approved unto Yahuah. It says in Revelation 18:23 that the nations were deceived by pharmakia. See, what if they pull a rope-a-dope? What if they're like, oh, yeah, you don't have to take the vaccine. No, just take this therapeutic. Everything will be fine. You can go back to normal. Trump saying, oh, no, we're never going to lock down again in this administration, but Biden, oh, he's going to lock you down. Do you realize that he's trying to gain his followers? He's trying to get people to defend him, to make him seem like the good guy. The illusion of choice, beloved. Don't be distracted by the red cape that you miss the matador with his sword ready to stab you with it. Ready to stab you with it. But you need to go and watch these videos. Not saying to do it today. It's on Shabbat. I don't want to disturb you on Shabbat. I've already disturbed you enough on Shabbat. But you need to go and watch these videos. Okay? You need to realize that they have the technology in their possession to do this. They have the ability to do this. This is their plan right here. This is the Agenda 21 plan, a global macro reset. It's all coming. Look at this. Operation Warp Speed, accelerated vaccine process to deliver 300 million doses of safe and effective vaccine by January 2021. Safe and effective. Could that be tied to when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon you? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. I don't know. Look at this. Typical process takes 73 months to completion. Accelerated vaccine process, 14 months. It's all right there. It's on government websites. This is the official government website right here. This is their website. Look, as soon as delivery begins 24 hours after emergency use authorization, or UAE. First dose is available within 96 hours. Did you know that they have the capability to track not only when the vaccines arrive, where they're going, but how long it's been there in a clinic, in a doctor's office, in a hospital before it's been administered? They've got the technology. They're tracing it all. The beast wants to know exactly where the vaccine is. You know, because he's here to help. I'm here to help you, right? Look, second dose tracking. As most vaccines require 2 doses 21 to 28 days apart from the same manufacturer, second dose reminders will be generated through existing IT systems. Now, here's a scary thought, because when I read 28 days, it made me think of the movie 28 Days Later. You know, Dr. True and I, we had a discussion on Monday evening, where I interviewed him. We talked about what COVID-19 is and everything like that, and how it's complete and utter fraud, and it's how the New World Order takes over. Uh-oh, what happened? Hang on. Am I still here?
Yes, we can still hear and see you.
Yeah, we can hear. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, sorry. But he had said that, you know, that, and I agree with him, Revelation 9 will take place, where these people who take this vaccine, they will begin to cry out once the activation happens. Okay, once that, whatever that event is that causes it to start reacting, okay, that they will begin to long for death, and death will flee from them. All right. And this guy, David Knight, he actually has a good expose on this as well. I would encourage you to go and look this up as well. But there's just so much for me to cover, you guys. There really is. I mean, CBS has it all over their website for the COVID-19 vaccine. I mean, it's just all there. It's just a matter of, do we realize what time it is? Do we understand where we're at? You know, this is another website that they said that Operation Warp Speed, it was on November 8th that was announced. And it just happened to be 6,999 days from September 11th, 2001. But they ran a 13-minute segment of Operation Warp Speed. You know, so they're talking to us within their numbers. They're talking to us within their dates. They're talking to us within all of it. He's the serpent's speaking to us. He's broadcasting what he's about to do. Question is, do we have ears to hear? Do we have eyes to see? Or are we like, oh no, where's the third temple, Brandon? Or no, it's got to be tied to Sunday, or it's got to be this, or it's got to be that. Stop, back up, take a minute, pray about it, seek Yahuah, ask for wisdom, ask for guidance, and realize that this is happening. This ain't about a virus at all, so-called virus. But he's been enjoying killing people along the way. He's been enjoying empowering the healthcare systems to become a place of death instead of a place of, you know, what it was, a place of safety and recovery. How deceitful, how deceptive, what deception lies here. But I would encourage you to go, like I said, and read the book of Esther. Read it. Go and look at the things that are talking about. But also, I have good news for us. Because what trap he lays before us will actually be his own stumbling block. Just like it was with Haman. Right? And beloved, this world's not our home. Okay? Brandon Muchmore isn't what you see here today. This is just my shell. You know, our images that we have, this is just our shells. But we're made in the likeness an image of Elohim. And we have to remain that way, even unto death. We can't become made, our DNA, allow our DNA to be changed, and we come and become in the likeness and image of the beast. We got to remain pure. That's what the days of Noah were about. That's why Noah it was accounted to him as righteousness, because he remained pure. That's why he was protected. That's why his family was protected. And we have to do the same thing. Otherwise, our names will be blotted out of the Lamb's Book of Life. So, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's good, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I love the Ruach was definitely in the midst, giving you exactly what you needed to say today. So necessary to hear this message. And
Yes,
pure is he who lives and counsels us, day to day as we move in this walk. And for that, we are definitely blessed. So go ahead, brother Conrad. I'm sorry.
yes, it amazes me. I do on Medicare, and WellCare is my insurance. This is the first time they are saying this. Doctors say a flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu. Well, you could say doctors say a vaccine shot is the best way to prevent the vaccine. And here is this camouflage: protect yourself and loved ones. They never ever said that all these years, but because of COVID, and this goes into a lot of Christianity themselves and others, protect yourself and loved ones. And it says, get your flu shot today, or get your vaccine today. I thought about that to say about warp speed. Folks, let's think about these things and be prepared. Not for the worst, for the believers and our families' protection. All right.
I just got an email this morning, matter of fact, that was looking for vaccine trial patients. I got an email. Hey, we're looking for people at risk. Let me read it to you just real quick. It's like really brief. I'll pull it up and read it to you real quick. Such deception going around. And the people who don't have a love for the truth, they're believing it. He's giving them over to, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and believe it. Because like I've said before, those who kept him at an arm's length before, he's now keeping an arm's length, and he's not letting them see what's happening. I know that sounds harsh, but he wants a faithful and pure and spotless bride. He doesn't want a whore. He's not coming back for a harlot. He's not coming back for unfaithful people.
Why do the FDA requires, when you eat something, show the ingredients that are in it? Then why is it that we don't have the right to show the ingredients that are in a vaccine?
Right.
Whether it's monkey brains or abortion fetuses.
Right.
Do we have a right? You see
Absolutely.
my point?
Yeah.
Double standard.
So it says volunteers needed for COVID-19 studies. Right now, local doctors are looking for high-risk healthy adults to join research studies. How are you a high risk and healthy? I don't understand that. Those who may qualify may receive payment up to $1,220, varies by study, no cost study related care from local doctors, no cost study vaccine. So these poor souls are selling out their birthright into the kingdom for the sake of $1,200. Crazy.
The money.
Crazy. So
it's the height of wickedness,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wickedness, I sometimes I don't talk because it got underneath my skin. The Father is telling me, wicked. That's the word He gives me. Mm-hmm. Wickedness. It's sad, but it's wickedness. That's what I have to say. And I got to plead, and like Moses.
That's it. And also hang on to His promises, because Julia has it right. Don't be fearful. I'm not saying these things to scare you, I'm saying these things to prepare you. Why we're talking about it. And for those who might watch this video later, you know, if they're not believers or they're believers, but they don't realize what time it is, you know, I'm saying it so that way they can be warned and that way they can repent and come back. But you also have to look at how many times in the word during a famine when the righteous were protected and provided for, and stand on those promises, hold on to those. So that's what I would say for sure. So any questions, comments, anything real quick?
Well, we're going to be starting here Shabbat in about 5 more minutes, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So we can probably have time maybe for one more comment or question, and then we do need to move on. And Julia, go ahead. You have your hand up. Shalom, sister.
I just want to admonish everyone. One of the persons in here was from New Zealand and was asking questions. I'm going to tell you, the biggest thing that we have to do is resist the enemy. Resist that in the propaganda, resist that in the fear mongering, resist in people trying to speak things over you. When I say walk in his precepts, he says, those who have come out of Egypt, no sickness or disease are in you. I'm telling you, I confess that thing every single day because I have to be with the public in my job and I don't wear a mask. And so I don't let the enemy trip me up, freak me out, whatever. I stand on his concepts, his precepts, his commands, his promises. His word is true. And I would admonish everyone, get those scriptures down in your soul and know them and know him.
Yeah. And also know this, and go and watch the interview that I did Monday night that's on my YouTube channel with Dr. True, because we expose the germ lie that you can't catch a virus. You know, because everything's backwards, everything's upside down. What's down is up, what's black is white, what's good is evil, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, the medical industry has lied to us for so many years in hopes of this day when, you know, they would be able to, you know, steal our very souls and corrupt our very souls to hell through medical, you know, through pharmakia. So, you know, understand that, you know, you, like Julia said, also, you have nothing to fear, but fear Yahuah, right? That's what the angel in the Revelation 14 says, fear Elohim and obey his commands. You know, fear the one who made the earth, the heavens, and the seas. So.
Yeah, I'm into that. That is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah. And it keeps us walking the narrow path.
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely a blessed morning. I really feel the Ruach amongst, you know, this congregation and everyone that's involved. And I'm so happy that, you know, we are seeing things that without the anointing, or at least the word that dwells inside of us, we are now able to perceive with our hearts, and we're able to understand with our hearts as well, and understand, you know, that there is evil out there, and it can be identified only because we have the truth living inside of us. And it's a blessing that, you know, the truth does. With just some of us, just we cannot contain it. It's too big. It's too big for not to tell the world what's going on. Even if the truth, you know, it's scary, but at least it brings people to make it have the decision, right? Have an option now, what to do with all this information, with these vaccines that are out. But praise the Most High for giving us the commandments of eating clean and staying clean, and so we don't fall victim to the uncleanness of the world, spiritually and physically as well.